Alright, peace family. This video is going to be a question and answers by someone that sent me some questions. I'm just going to answer them for them. So without further ado, here we go. The first question was, how did you get started? Okay, so boom. I got started, trading. Forex trading was my first introduction to trading, right? So when I was in school, or maybe I was getting ready to leave college, I was looking at ways I can make money, you know what I'm saying? I always knew about investing, you know what I'm saying? I always knew I wanted to be an investor, but I just was like, all right, well, how do I start, right? And here come the Forex guys coming. So boom, I started Forex trading, but how can you start? You can start simply by getting a Robinhood account, right? And putting some money in, through your bank. And Robinhood has it to a point where now it's like, it's so detailed. Well, it's so advanced now that Robinhood is kind of like its own bank in a way. And if you don't want to use Robinhood, you can use Webull. If you don't want to use Webull, you can use TD Ameritrade, right? Those are the three brokers that I use right now. The second question was, what are some keys to get started investing? All right, so boom. Some keys to get started investing for me was just learn more about the trade, right? Learn more about the game. When you want to get into basketball, what you do, you study the players, you study certain moves, certain things like that. So for me, when I wanted to get into trading, I started to look up to traders, right? I started to follow certain traders, right? I started to see how they move, what they doing on a day-to-day basis, how they thinking, what are they doing on nights like tonight? Are they, watching Netflix, or are they, looking at charts, Are they looking at YouTube videos on ways to improve some of their skill sets? Or are they, at the club, smoking hookah? Like, what are they doing? You know what I'm saying? Are they with their girl all night? Or are they, reading a book about trends, reading a book about technical analysis or something like that? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. How do you know what to invest in? This is a great question because it's like, there's no right answer to it, You can invest in whatever you're interested in. That's the cool part about investing is, it's literally, it's like its own separate, sport, When you making money in these markets, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, you kind of like a athlete in a way, you know what I'm saying, especially depending on how you look at it. But you have to refine your skill sets, you know what I'm saying. You have to be looking up, some of the stats from the best companies, right? So look at it like this, you know what I'm saying. We all know that the Lakers right now is on the top of, they just won a championship last year. They one of the best teams in the NBA, and for stock market, right? We know that Tesla is one of the best moving and the best companies as far as growth wise, right? We know that Google is one of the best companies as far as like growth wise and just great all around companies. We know that the S&P 500. If you don't know what that is, it's like it's like a compound of all the greatest, or most of the traded stocks. 500 of the most traded stocks, all put in one. It's an index, right? We know that's kind of like how the Brooklyn Nets all brought James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving all on one team. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to really make this a lifestyle, you have to start looking at this like real life. You know what I'm saying? How can this apply to things that you already got interest in, right? So I think the question was, let me look at it again. Oh, how do you know what to invest in? You know what to invest in based on what the market is doing, right? So like in the NBA, you know what teams to watch based on who just scored 40 points last night, right? Who just had a triple double last night, which what teams on the 10-game win streak, you know what I'm saying? So this is how you know what to invest in. Investing and trading and all this can be applied. Everything that you know already can be applied to trading in some kind of way. You just have to know where to apply your information, right? So the next question is, what is a weekly profits like? This is my favorite question as well because there's no set amount. You feel me? Like when you work at a job, right? They tell you pretty much know you get paid this amount an hour. They tell you you're only worth $14, $13, $15, $16 an hour. And as long as you work this many hours, you're going to get this much at the end of the week. But when trading, look, man, you can put in, it's no time limit because your growth is not dictated on a certain amount of hours you work, right? Obviously, if you put more time in the markets, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna see more results in the markets, right? So you know, that's something to keep in mind. So like as far as how much money you can make, like when you see plays like AMC develop, when people like me or people young people that's telling you the game say like, look guys, I'm investing in AMC, it's at 280 right now, you know what I'm saying, that was 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, right? If you would have hopped in the AMC, you know what I'm saying, and you put whatever you had in there, which is maybe nothing but $60, $70 after you get done with paying all your bills, and you let that play develop, you could be looking at a play or like a 400% return or 500% return based on one of those home run plays. So guess what? You know, there's no set amount. But if you continue, like if you make consistent gains every single day or little gains every single day, 10% today, 20% today, 30% today, over time you're gonna build a nice portfolio. And guess what? In the stock market, the person with the most money is much easier to make $1,000 a day when you already have $20,000 in your account, or $30,000 in your account, or in your trading account, not your bank account. But even in your bank account, it works that way too. It's a lot easier to make, you know what I'm saying, $20,000 moves and like move 5%, and you just made $1,000 a day. It's a lot easier to make that when you have a lot more money. So that's why it's important to get money and buy more income, buy more assets. You know what I'm saying? The more money that you have, the more money you're gonna make. This is how the stock market or any business work. You know what I'm saying? The more capital you got, the more money you're gonna make, right? So as far as how much money you're gonna make starting out, it's no telling. You know what I'm saying? When I first started out and when I was working my job, I was making consistent income every single week. Depending on if I hop in the markets every day, I can see $100 every single day. You know, get into different stocks, you know, swing trading certain things, holding this for this time, and in the morning selling it for this time. Like you can make $100 a day. You can make $1,000 a day. You can make $20,000 a day. You can make $100,000 a day. There's no limit as to what you can do in these markets, which is why people like it, right? So yeah, that's my answer for you. Okay, so the next question is it possible to make $50 to $100 a day? Yes, it's very, very possible. To be honest with you, all you need to make $100 a day is like maybe a stock needs to move, depending on how much money you put in, of course. A stock needs to move about, let's say, 30%, 40%. A 30% move, you probably gonna make close to $100, depending on how much money you put in. I think we all should start with $100, if that. You know, $100 is pretty cool to invest in. If you put $100 in and continue to make good investments, like for example, on my Webull account, I put $50 in right now. My account is already up to like $200 some dollars or something like that, a little bit over that. So I started off with $50. I never deposited more money into there, only $50, right? So boom, I put $50 in my Webull account. I invested into Walgreens, right? I doubled my I bought a car for like $40 or something like that. I flipped that to $100 some dollars. Now my account was at 50, but now it's at 100, right? So I doubled my money, right? So yes, it's very, but mind you, the stock that I purchased was under $100 as well, right? So you got to be strategic about the stock that you pick. You got to pick a stock that maybe not that popular. You know what I'm saying? You can buy a car. You can make some like you can flip your money within the days or weeks or a month's time, and it's, you know, you can make that money, triple or quadruple or whatever. But it's gonna take some time though, for sure, depending on which stock it is. Because like Walgreens, for example, depending on when I got into it, it was moving up at a rapid rate. But typically Walgreens is a more slower momentum type stock, and it's not always moving like a Tesla or like an Apple or something like that. So yeah, it's very possible to make to take $100 and flip it and make that a day. You know what I'm saying? You can very much do that, but it's all about what stocks are you picking, right? Okay, so where do I get my information from? Okay, YouTube University, my best friend, but don't get me wrong, I'm not that cheap. I go out there and I buy some courses. I done bought. If y'all want to know how much money I paid in courses, I tell y'all. Last year alone, I paid $200 for the wealth standard for 19 keys. I paid two something for the for brother Ben's digital, not digital real estate, but it's ABS tribe thing that I joined. It was like a little monthly subscription or whatever it was. But that was to get me like to get me into the field of having your own community group, right? That's how I got the idea to do my own community group. And then I paid I almost paid close to $1,000 for digital real estate, but I ended up getting that. I'll tell you how I got that for free. But anyway, so like, so like I paid a lot of money in courses. I paid $97 for this option course that I bought from Tide Capital. I paid money, like I always buy courses. I bought Chris Shonda's entrepreneurs or how to quit your job course. I bought one of my friends' courses. I think his name is Quan. I bought Quan course for Forex last year to learn how to make money in the Forex market. That was like $75, So like I always spend my money on knowledge because I understand, that's how you're going to be able to make more money. You got to invest in yourself, right? Books, courses, all that, right? So yeah, this question is, what are some key things to look for? I don't know how you want me to answer this, but I'm gonna answer it like this. Key things to look for in the stock market. I just would say be up on know what technical analysis is, know what fundamental analysis is, know what support and resistance is, and I'm gonna go into more into that in my next question, your next question as well. Like know what all these things, know what all the terms are, know basic lingo, right? Because when you go to the hood, I'm making it very relatable. When you go to the hood, you gotta say certain lingos so people know that you kind of know what's going on, right? So you might go down and say, you might be like, yeah. They might say something like, oh no, that's no cap, or you might say, yeah, I know what the fuck going on, or whatever you might say. There's certain lingo that you might say, and by the way, excuse my French, but you already know there's certain lingo you might say if you're around some of your hood friends than it is when you're around people that is more proper, right? So you might get into an environment where it's more proper, people in there talking about the stock market or talking about the forex market. You might start using words like expeditiously, or I don't know, like you might start like, oh, the money, like the exponential, like, it's just learning certain different key terms to make you be able to blend within this type of, learn the jargon, of whatever, place or whatever genre or whatever different place that you're in, So basically to sum it up, just learn the key terms, you know what I'm saying? Learn the key terms, okay? So that's all I want to say on that. This is how you read charts, right? You read charts like this. So I'm assuming you want me to like show you like okay, this is a higher high. This is a higher low, higher high, oh no, I'm sorry. Higher low, higher high, higher high. So boom. This is pretty much typically how the chart is doing, right? You looking at you looking at the psychology of traders, right? When you looking at a chart, you looking at, there's three participants in the markets, right? There's a buyer, there's a seller, there's somebody that's just watching. Okay, these are the three, right? So the buyer, he might get in right here and anticipate this stock. Let's say this is Netflix, right? Right? He might get in right here at 500, right? That's the buyer, right? He might get in at 500, anticipate the stock to go up, right? The seller might get in at this same exact price, but he might look for it to go down, right? So the buyer getting in at 500 and the seller getting in at 500, and the stock goes up 30 ticks or 30 points. The buyer just made 30%. So the buyer just made money. The seller who just got in as well, he just lost that whatever that was, right? So when the stock goes back down, even if it doesn't go all the way back down, the buyer begins to lose some of those gains, right? And the seller begins to have more confidence and start to understand, like, okay, maybe it's going to go back down.